Good day, Tagum City. Good day, viewers and listeners. Welcome once again to Salida TeleRadyo of La Filipina National High School, where you will learn engaging and exciting lessons that will be very helpful to you. I am your teacher host, Teacher Roslyn Fresno. And for today, you will learn many things about sewing machines, a lesson from grade 7 TLE. Let us now welcome our teacher broadcaster, Miss Elgin Saruca.
Good day, viewers and listeners. It's me again, your teacher Elgin, for another exciting and fun lesson in TLE 7. We are now in our fourth quarter and we are glad because we are still able to deliver lessons to you through Salida TeleRadyo. For today, we are going to discuss about sewing machines. This is part of your Module 1 in TLE 7 for the fourth quarter. I know for sure that you will be able to relate to our lesson because most of us already experienced sewing clothes or experience handling sewing machines. For us to be guided with our discussion, let us first have our objectives. First, identify types of sewing machines. Second, recognize parts of a sewing machine. Third, appreciate the importance of sewing machines. Let's begin. Before we start our discussion, let us try to answer the following activities. The first one is guessing the word. What you're going to do is you're going to arrange the jumbled letters in order for you to identify the words. You are going to be given or you are given only 5 seconds to answer. Are you ready? Let's start. For our first one, we have G, E, I, S, W, N. Again, I repeat. G, E, I, S, W, N. What do you think is the word we are looking for? The correct answer is sewing. For our second one, we have E, D, N, E, L, E. Again, E, D, N, E, L, E. What do you think is the word we are looking for? The correct answer is needle. For our third one, we have C, T, I, S, T, H. Again, C, T, I, S, T, H. What do you think is the word we are looking for? The correct answer is stitch. Job well done. At this point, let us have another guessing game. Let us guess the following pictures. I would like for you to get your pen and your TLE notebook because you will write your answers on it. I will give you 5 seconds to answer. Later, we are going to check the answers. Are you ready? Let's start. First one is a sewing machine that most commonly creates a lock stitch. What do you think is this called? Your time starts now. Second one. This is a long, slender tool with a pointed tip at one end and a hole at the other. It is one of the parts of a sewing machine in the arm. What do you think is this called? Your time starts now. Lastly, it is a metal spoon for winding the thread, and it is one of the parts of a sewing machine under the bed. What do you think is this called? Your time starts now. I hope you were able to answer all of it correctly. Later, we will reveal the answers. Now, let us proceed with our discussion. Make sure that you have with you your pen and notebook so that you can take down notes about the different information that we will discuss in our discussion about sewing machines, its types, and its parts. A sewing machine is a machine with a mechanically driven needle for sewing or stitching clothes. It is used to stitch the fabric and other pliable materials together with threads o yung tinatawag natin na sinulid. Did you know that sewing machines were invented during the first Industrial Revolution to decrease the quantum of the manual sewing done in garment industries? Since its invention, it has greatly improved the efficiency as well as the productivity of the fabric, garment, and needle industries. A sewing machine usually has a needle and shuttle to carry the thread and powered by the treadle, water power, or electricity. A well-selected sewing machine is essential for achieving good results. So it should be that it should be used correctly in accordance with the job requirements. Now, let's get to know more about the types of sewing machine. A sewing machine operator should have the knowledge and skills to operate the different types of sewing machines. The operator should also know about the various operations of the sewing machines and its parts to be able to perform the task correctly. The first one, we have the lock-stitch sewing machine. This is usually used in homes and sometimes in schools. So this is also called as domestic sewing machine. It is run by foot and may also be converted to electric power machine. So the main function of the take-up mechanism of the lock-stitch sewing machine is to create a stitch together with the needle and the bobbin hook. The second one, we have the high-speed lock-stitch sewing machine. This is sometimes called straight stitching machine or industrial sewing machine. So this is because it is characterized for its heavy-duty operation through its audio lubricating system. So it features a distinctive reverse feed mechanism made used to thin material without wrinkle and thick material without break thread as high speed of operation. The third one is the over-edging machine. So other companies call it as small machine. So it finishes the raw edges of the pattern for construction. So the over-edging machine is also used to form a multi-thread over-edging system. The fourth one is the embroidery machine. So this is used in making fancy stitches and in making different kinds of embroidery stitches on fabrics. For Barong Tagalog, pillowcases, linen, and other novelty items. So it is also commercially used in product branding, corporate advertising, and uniform adornment. It is also used in fashion industry to decorate garments and apparel. The fifth one is the buttonhole machine. This is used in making buttonholes on garments. So we have to remember that buttonholes are holes in fabric which allows the buttons to pass through, securing one piece of a fabric or of the fabric to another. The sixth one, we have the button attachment machine. So this is used for attaching buttons to the garments. So the button is a small round disc usually attached to an article of an apparel or garment in order to secure an opening or for decorative ornamentation. The seventh one is the double needle machine. So this is used in the construction of the different kinds of clothing, especially for the inseam, outseam, and side seam. So a double needle lock stitch machine works on the same principle as the single needle machine by using two needles and two bobbins, thus resulting in two parallel rows of lock stitch. The eighth one is the bar tacking machine. So this is used in reinforcing the opening as well as the closing of pockets. Now let's get to know the parts of a sewing machine. So the different parts of a sewing machine and its functions help the operator to know the functioning of a sewing machine, since there are types or different types of sewing machine used in the manufacturing of garments. So the two major parts of the lock stitch sewing machine are the upper and lower parts. So the upper part is composed of the following. First, the head. So the head is the complete sewing machine without the cabinet or stand. Second is the arm. The arm is the curved part of the head containing mechanism for operating the needle. The third one is the bed. It is the flat portion of the machine, and beneath is the feed dog where it is mounted, and the shuttle and the lower thread are placed. As you can see in the picture, it is written there, or it can be seen that the lock stitch sewing machine has its arm, its head, and its bed. So parts of sewing machine in the arm. First one is the spool pin. It is the thread holder, or dito natin nilalagay yung sinulid. Second one is the thread guide. It keeps the thread in position. Ito ay isang maliit na butas kung saan ito ay gumagabay sa thread mula sa spool hanggang sa karayom. Next is the thread take-up lever. So it releases the thread and interlocks with the bobbin thread. The take-up lever is located directly above the presser foot of a sewing machine. It is the part of the sewing machine that pulls the thread from the spool to feed it through the machine and lifts the thread back up out of the cloth after a stitch has been made. Next is the presser bar lifter. So it moves the presser foot. Ito ay ginagamit upang makontrol ang paggalaw ng presser foot. Next is the tension. So it controls the looseness and the tightness of the stitches. So mas napapadali nito ang pagkontrol ng pagkaluwag at higpit ng mga tahi. Next is the needle bar. It holds the needle in place at ito yung steel rod kung saan humahawak sa karayom sa may ibabang dulo nito. We also have the needle clamp. So it holds and tightens the needle. It is a collar and screw device that holds the needle to the needle bar. We also have the presser foot. So it holds the fabric in place while sewing. It holds the fabric flat as it fed through the machine and stitched. We also have the needle. So the needle is a slender tool attached in the needle clamp and it's used for sewing. We also have the bobbin winder. So it controls the bobbin while winding the thread. Another is the stitch regulator. So it checks the length of the stitches. Tinitiyak nito ang balanse at pantay na haba ng mga tahi. We also have the balance wheel. So ito yung bilog na gulong na matatagpuan sa kanang itaas ng sewing machine. So the balance wheel manually advances the sewing machine. Another is the belt. So the belt connects the balance wheel to the drive wheel. We also have stop motion screw. So the use of it is it hinders the movement of the sewing machine when loosened and it enable it to start moving when tightened. Now let's know about the parts of the sewing machine under the bed. First is the feed dog. So feed dog are metal-like ridges that emerge from a hole in the throat plate of a sewing machine. So it moves as you sew, gently gripping the bottom fabric to help it pass through the sewing machine and produce a high-quality stitch. We also have the throat plate. It is the windows of the feed dog. Another is the slide plate. So it is a movable plate that covers the shuttle and the bobbin case. Next is the shuttle. It holds the bobbin case while sewing. Next is the bobbin. It is a metal spool for winding thread o kung saan pinapaikot natin yung sinulid. Another is the bobbin case. So the bobbin case hold the bobbin. Ang layunin ng bobbin case ay upang suportahan ang bobbin sa sewing machine upang mabuo ang mga tahi. Next, we have to learn also the lower parts of the lock stitch sewing machine. We have, for the first one, the band wheel. So the band wheel leads the balance through the belt connection. Ito ay ang bahagi ng sewing machine na tumitiyak o na tinitiyak na ang balance wheel ay dadaan sa belt connection. Another one is the band wheel crank. It moves the band wheel. In addition, we also have Pitman rod. So it holds the treadle to band We also have the Pitman rod. So the Pitman rod holds the treadle to the band wheel crank. This rod connects the treadle to the drive wheel so that when the treadle is pressed, the drive wheel moves. We also have the belt guide. So the belt guide helps to hold the belt to its place. Another one is the belt shifter. So the belt shifter removes the belt from the wheel. We also have the dress guard. So it protects the dress from the wheel. Ito yung bahagi ng sewing machine na pumoprotekta sa iyong tela para hindi makain ng wheel. We also have the treadle. So what's the function of a treadle? So this is where our feet are stationed to drive the band wheel through the pitman rod. Next one is the cabinet. So the cabinet holds the head of the sewing machine. A sewing machine makes the task of sewing heavy fabric an easy one. This is important if you have a sewing business because accuracy and timeliness are very important in this. Sewing machines can make use of double thread that makes the stitches stronger and durable. If done by hand, it can strain both your eyes and your hands. So the use of sewing machines create a style for each garment over the limited decoration we are willing to choose. So it opens our mind creatively to unlimited possibilities for repurposing almost anything made from fabric. Also, it is important because in manufacturing of furniture with upholstery, curtains, towels, toys, books, and many other products, it is used. So I hope you learned from our discussion today. And at this point, we are going to reveal the answers of the guessing game we had earlier before the discussion. Are you ready? Let's begin. First one is a sewing machine that most commonly creates a lock stitch. What do you think is this called? The correct answer for this one is a lock stitch sewing machine. The next one is a long slender tool with a pointed tip at one end and a hole at the other. It is one of the parts of a sewing machine in the arm. What do you think is this called? This is a needle. Lastly, it is a metal spool for winding the thread. So it is one of the parts of a sewing machine under the bed. What do you think it is called? So this is called a bobbin. So I hope that you are able to answer all of it correctly. Now let us evaluate what you have learned in our discussion today. So you're going to honestly answer the following questions. So be reminded that I will only give you 5 seconds to answer it. Number 1. Which of the following is called domestic sewing machine? A. Over-edging machine. B. Lock stitch sewing machine. C. Embroidery machine. Or D. Buttonhole machine. The correct answer is B. Lock stitch sewing machine. Number 2. The sewing machine finishes the raw edges of the pattern for construction. Is it A. Over-edging machine? B. Lock stitch sewing machine? C. Embroidery machine? D. Buttonhole machine? The correct answer is letter A, over-edging machine. Number 3. So this is used in reinforcing the opening and the closing of the pockets. Is it A, over-edging machine? B, lock-stitch sewing machine? C, embroidery machine? Or D, bar tacking machine? The correct answer is letter D, bar tacking machine. Number 4. It releases the thread and interlocks with the bobbin thread. Is it A, thread guide? B, needle clamp? C, thread take-up lever? Or letter D, presser foot? The correct answer is letter C, thread take-up lever. Number 5. It is where the feet are stationed to drive the band wheel through the pitman rod. Is it A, band wheel crank? Letter B, just guard? Letter C, belt shifter? Or letter D, treadle? The correct answer is letter D, treadle. So let us continue to master what you learned today by doing your assignment. Write your answers and submit it on a scheduled submission of outputs. You may use a long bond paper. For your assignment, you're going to draw a sewing machine and label its parts. I hope you learned a lot in our discussion today. Thank you for listening. Again, I am Teacher Elgin. See you next time for another exciting and fun lesson in TLE 7. Only here at Salida TeleRadyo. Goodbye for now.
That's great! Thank you, Ma'am Elgin. Thank you, viewers and listeners. I hope you have learned a lot today. Once again, this is your teacher host, Teacher Roslyn Presno. See you again next time only here at Salida TeleRadyo of La Filipina National High School. Goodbye, everyone!